Morning, I'm Tim from Tower. I'm here with Justin. We're the account managers. Today, we're just going to record a longer demonstration of how our system works for newsagents. Justin's going to largely drive this one. I'll jump in with the odd bit. So, yeah, look across to you, Justin. Fire away.
Thanks, Tim. I'll share my screen. You can see my screen all right?
Yep, that's come through, yep.
Excellent. So this is essentially the main screen of the software. So the beauty about this, it can be customized depending on what functionality that terminal uses. So a typical example, you might have a back office setup where you do your invoice arrivals, your purchase orders and things like that. You can customize the tiles here to reflect that functionality within the software. And then you might have register computers where you just want the staff to be able to access the point of sale screen, the stock screen, and maybe the end of day process or the end of shift. So you can really simplify that screen to get rid of confusion for staff members. I'm just going to go back to my back office setup. And that customization does flow across into the point of sale screen as well. So at the moment, I've got the buttons along the right-hand side. But if I click on the cog up here, you'll see that I can have them along the bottom if I'm used to that, the right-hand side, the left-hand side. And I can simply make any of these buttons any sort of links to functionality or sub-levels, stock items, pretty much whatever I want. Customization is really good. I've obviously got some hotkeys up here as well. So I've got some papers here which you can simply click. Obviously, you can just scan a product and that will bring the product straight up to the sales screen, or you can simply just search it as well. If you hit the enter key, you'll see here I can search any sort of field within the software. These screens can be customized as well. So if I don't need to know, department or PLU, I can choose to show and hide specific information about those stock items.
Or if you have staff seeing the cost price or anything like that as well, you can turn that off.
Yeah, really good point. Yeah. And I can move these columns around as well. So depending on what I want to default search by, whether it be barcode or description, as soon as I click on the enter key, I can start typing in whatever that is. A couple little things here as well. So you'll see when I click on this teeny tie, it's giving me a little message down the bottom here that it's saying, hey, you've got an upsell opportunity. This is part of a promotion or a catalog. It's saying if the customer buys three of these, they get them at $14.99. So as soon as I repeat that item 2 more times, you'll see the system automates that discount for the customer. Now, multiple ways to set up your promotions. This is obviously a quantity range one, but you can have your mix and matches. So if I buy this particular item, I might get 10% off this one. You can do your multi-buy. So a lot of our news agency customers might offer buy 10 greeting cards and get one for free. Instead of stamping the old-fashioned cardboard cards, you can have the system store that information or those transactions against the customer. And when it's time for the redemption, the system will automate that discount automatically. And that way, doing it through the system, you've got the appropriate reports there to send off to the supplier so you can get your rebates and whatnot as well. You can have images assist you in the point of sale. It's obviously handy for making sure you're selling the correct item. But the main factor for the images, if you do sell online, we can send these images across to your online store. So you don't have to manually put the images online as well as in store. It's all managed within the point of sale. And you can have unlimited images, and all of those images will flow across your online e-commerce site, which I'll touch on in a second as well. Ending of sales, pretty simple. Obviously, we've got the FPOS integration, so we'll integrate with most FPOS PIN pads. We've got the Own Now, Pay Later integrations, so Zip Pay and Hum. I think Afterpay is through the FPOS terminals now. Otherwise, you can simply click on the end sale. You can track it by staff codes or staff initials as well, or you can turn that feature off. But that will simply end the sale. In this case, I'm just previewing a receipt, but obviously we can, print that to a thermal A4 or A5 receipt. Obviously, we'd put your logo up the top there, your store details. It's got the items on the sale. These discount vouchers is one form of customer loyalty that our software can offer. This is certainly the more popular one, so this is just going to work out an amount based on what was in the sale and get the customer, or give the customer an amount to spend in store in their next visit. The thing about these is it actually forces them to actually come back into the store and purchase something else with you, rather than doing the old-fashioned way and discounting at the point of sale and potentially never seeing that customer again. They've purchased what they need. You've given them $3. To use that $3 voucher, they have to come back and purchase something else.
The thing I really like with those vouchers as well is you don't need to link them to a customer's details. So, speaking, I guess, personally as a consumer, like I don't want to join a loyalty program and get marketing, and that voucher applies to anyone. Just they do an over-the-counter transaction, they get the $3 voucher, and they can use that straight away, or give it to a friend that might be with them. It's you don't need to provide any details to use that mechanism. It's been really popular.
Yeah, really good point. And even if they want to pass over details, you can see, you can put some text at the bottom of the voucher and say, hey, if you want to pass over your mobile number and email address, we are going to spam you, but hey, you'll get bigger rewards next time. So you can manipulate it like that as well. A couple of the little integrations, obviously, in the point of sale screen. So we do have the Tabcorp integration. So we'll grab the lotto amounts from the lotto terminals at the click of a button. You can scan the lotto tickets as well individually, or you can simply click on the lotto sale button and type in the amount. But certainly the Tabcorp integration is a massive time saver. You could sell 20 tickets in the lotto terminal. At the click of a button, you can just bring that sale straight across.
Really easy, just helps with balancing as well as just, really tidying up that transaction and making it really fast. It's really popular.
Yeah. ePay integration as well. So all your phone cards and phone recharges are sold through the point of sale. So no more FPOS terminal for that side of it as well. Vouchers are really popular as well. So again, we can do thermal, A4 or A5. So if you are doing a printed one through the software, you can put, you can personalize it as well. So you can do, messages to and from and happy birthday and whatnot. But then we've also got, we work with a separate company that do these professional looking credit card style, vouchers as well. So obviously we can put the amount directly onto that. Obviously we'd put your logo and design it with you as well. But that's another way to do it as well if you wanted to, move away from the printed versions. Look, bit on, I know I spoke about the own now, pay later, but certainly lay-bys are proving really popular as well, especially leading into, periods like Christmas and whatnot. So you can bring up a bunch of items, click on the create lay-by button. Obviously you can choose your customer, but what that's going to do is a couple of different options. So when I go to end that sale, I've got a couple of different options up here. So in the back end, I can set a deposit amount. So whether that's a flat fee or a certain percentage of the sale. And then I've got my 3 different durations here, which I can choose from as well. So obviously you can have like a 2-week period where it might be a lower cost item that, they might only want a couple of weeks to pay it off. Or you can obviously do, your higher ticketed items where you might want to give them 6 or 7 weeks to pay it off. Or you can simply customize that and go, hey, the customer says, I want to pick it all up on the 23rd of December, a couple of days before Christmas. You can simply click that date there and that will print the payment schedule based on what date you've set on the customer's receipt as well. And just further to the lay-bys, it is a full lay-by management system. So if they do want to, or if they've paid enough off lay-by to, partially collect a couple of items, you can go into the system and mark those as collected, and that will document on the receipt as well. And every time the customer, makes a payment to those lay-bys, all that info is documented on the receipts as well.
Yeah, we've got a separate video on the lay-by management with some examples of the receipts. It'll show you how those payments work. You can set your own terms and conditions on the receipts, configure how many copies it prints out, even have like a detailed payment plan and everything on there as well. It's really flexible the way lay-bys works.
Yeah. Look, I briefly touched on the e-commerce integration. So really good time saver. Obviously, a lot of stores these days are moving online. So whether you've got a Shopify site, a WooCommerce site, or a Magento site, we can certainly connect to that. If you don't have an e-commerce site, we do develop sites in Shopify predominantly, and then Magento as well. So we've certainly got that development process as well. But really handy having the integration. So I'll bring up this item here, and I'll bring up the stock screen. So I've got all the info about this item here. So I've got my description, whether it's a web store item, I've got my sell price, I've got my web price as well. Over here, I've got my images. So again, I've got the one, but you can have unlimited images on this particular item. And then I've got my extra details tab. So extended description is what you can obviously put info in there, and that will print on the customer's receipt. So handy for maybe your collectible items or something like that, where you want to pass on that it is a limited edition, how many are made around the world, and what materials it's made of. But then you've got your web description here as well. If I go to this website, so this is a website Tower Systems developed, fully connected with our point of sale software. And this item is what I was demonstrating earlier. So this over here is the web description. That's pulling that info directly from this field here. And then if you go over to your details, you've got your description here, your web price, which is $44.99. This is pretty basic, but you can, some stores will show quantity on hand. Some will just simply show whether it's in stock or out of stock, depending on which way you sort of want to tackle it. But having the integration, obviously, if this sells online, it reduces your quantity on hand within the system, and vice versa as well. If you arrive this item and the price goes up from $44.99 to say $45.99, within a couple of minutes, that new price reflects online as well. Anything to add to the e-commerce side of things, Tim?
Oh, look, I would just say there's also the variance in the system. So anything that has sizes and colors, you can set it so that displays correctly on the website. When it comes to the web development side of things, as Justin mentioned, we've got our own in-house web development team. We're not outsourcing that offshore or anything. It's all absolutely done internally. And so, yeah, we can help with that process. We've done hundreds of websites for customers. And a lot of, I guess, varying features on those websites. So that one Justin showed before certainly had the product on there, but we've had some customers where they'll have the quantity on hand actually displayed on the website as well, which I personally find really appealing with websites, to know how many a business has in stock. So yeah, look, that's really all I'd add to it.
Yeah, and it's a good point as well. A lot of local customers will even go on the website, see how many they've got in stock, but actually drive to the store and purchase it, because it might only say one or two left. So really handy for that side of it as well. Yeah,
we've got heaps of feedback from customers, not of how the websites have worked, and it's not only about getting those online transactions, it's also about giving customers that portal to be able to see what is in store. So businesses, especially around Christmas time, as you said before, businesses where they've got the website, they're displaying how many of something they've got. If they've got people that are going to be passing through just before Christmas, maybe they're traveling interstate or something, they can kind of pre-plan where they need to go and what they need to buy. And customers that we build websites for will often tell us customers they've never seen come through the door, grab something, buy it, and walk out as if they knew that was there. And that's the web dev that's driving that.
Yeah. Really good point. Look, before we get off the point of sale screen, I'll go through the customer account side of things. Obviously, within news agencies, obviously a lot of put away customers, whether they pay as they pick up or, on, specific customer accounts. Obviously with stationery as well, you might have a lot of, big businesses with accounts as well. First of all, I can ring up items, go through booking things up, to the customer account first. So I can bring those items up in the sales screen first, or I can simply click on the customer button there and choose my customer. So I'm just going to choose Justin Randall. So now this is an invoice sale to Justin Randall. I'll just bring up a couple of stationery items. say
And just keep in mind, look, most of our customers would just be scanning at this point, but we don't have products or scanners with us, so we're using those touchscreen levels to go through and find the item.
Exactly, yeah. So these are obviously the normal price, but you'll see here you can actually manipulate the specific discounts certain customers get. So if I go to a teeny tile, which is, you know, in my toy or gift department, you'll see here that down the bottom here, that automated discount, because this particular customer might get a certain percentage off, you know, certain departments within the store, and then other departments they obviously won't get a discount for. So the system's smart enough to, obviously you can set those as different profiles and obviously assign those profiles to specific customers as well. When I click on the end sale, that will simply book up that transaction against that customer account.
And if you subtotal that, you've also got the option of doing things like putting in a purchase order number. So if it is a larger company that, you know, has issued a purchase order, you can put that against it. You can put notes against the invoice. There's a lot of flexibility, and you can also customize what those invoices look like, whether they're A4, whether they're receipt style. You've got flexibility over that.
Yeah, yeah. And even when you do your statements as well, you do have flexibility over that as well. So, you know, example, some people might like them itemized, others just might like the invoice number shown. So obviously this is an itemized statement here. So you've got the invoice number, what was on the actual invoice, you've got the due date of that particular invoice. And then down the bottom here, the remittance device, obviously. So what the customer owes, what's not owing, you know, and what their balance is. So it's really simple to read, really simple for the customer. And that was based actually on feedback from a couple of news agency customers. You know, previously we had it displayed differently, but in the last year and a half, we've actually, you know, revamped the statements and what they can look like, and it's really simple for the customer to read now. But going back to the software, within the customer screen here, again, I can get the, you know, this screen from the point of sale. You'll see you've got all your transactional history against that particular customer. If for whatever reason they can get specific invoices sent to them, you know, because you might have this particular customer might only want, you know, emailed or SMS to them, which actually takes me to here. You can actually turn on that functionality as well. So if they simply don't want, you know, their invoices printed or emailed, you can disable or enable those as well, depending on, you know, what the customer wants. So that is per customer as well, which is really handy. But I can click on this button here and simply, you know, tick all the transactions that they didn't receive for whatever reason, or I can simply do it all if they, you know, want them all within the last month or so. So yeah, really handy to get, you know, invoices and statements back out to the customer. Or in this screen as well, obviously I mentioned the put away side of things. So obviously you get a lot of customers wanting, you know, magazines or newspapers, you know, put away for them, whether it's daily or weekly. You can simply choose the particular magazine or newspaper, choose what type it is. So obviously we do the put away side of things. Obviously, we've got the distribution side of things. So for your sub-agents and your delivery rounds, we do have a separate video which sort of dives a bit deeper into that sort of functionality. So feel free to ask, you know, Tim or I for the video and happily give it to you. Really simple to how to put away customer within the software. So all you do is simply work out whether they're paying as they pick up. So some customers might want to feel special and, you know, have that magazine put away for them each week. But all they do is simply, you know, pay as they pick up, or, you know, I might simply go on a customer account. So that's just as simple as normal charge or no charge. Depending on what day that magazine comes in, it will highlight those days as well. So if it's a newspaper and they want it, say, Monday to Friday, but not on the weekends, you can simply populate, you know, the quantity of what they want put away each day. And then you've got your stops and starts as well. So if they're going on holidays for the next couple of weeks, you can simply put a stop on that, and that will obviously not bill that customer for that period. And just on the put away side of things, so our system will produce a label like this one. So this is a typical magazine label. You've got your recall date there, obviously the price, how many you received. If it was a customer put away, it would actually print those customer details on it. So you know to put that aside, and then obviously you can scan that barcode and that will show the system that put away has been collected.
Yeah. The labels are actually really handy if if a newsagent has a limited space on in the magazine rack, you can use those labels to really easily kind of look and see what you should be taking off and maybe early returning to clear some space, because on that label, if it shows you 3T, it means you got 3 copies in and it's a top return, and it shows the arrival date on there as well. So you might look at it and go, yep, this particular magazine, I've got 3 copies in, I got it 3 weeks ago. Have a quick look, you've still got all 3. So, hey, maybe you want to take those off and early return them because they're obviously not moving.
Yeah, good point. And just on labels as well, obviously we can do the put away labels, but special customer order management is another big one as well. So things like, your giftware or toys that you might not have any in stock, or you might be doing a special order for a particular customer. You can basically order that stock item in. So let's just say it might be an item that exists in my stock file already, so it's a teeny tie. When I click on end sale, it's going to ask, does the customer want to leave a deposit? You can put a deposit in there, or if you're going to sell it anyway, you can simply leave that at 0. But as soon as I add that in the system, it does a couple of things in the background. So it'll add it to my next order for that particular supplier. Let's just say in 2 weeks' time, that order arrives in stock. We can trigger a notification either via text message or email that their order has arrived, and that will send directly to the customer. And then to the label point as well, we can actually print a label with those customer details on it. So whoever's labeling the stock for that particular invoice, they know to obviously put that aside for Mr. Justin Randall. And there's a couple of ways to add it. I've obviously got the item there, but you can simply do a stock inquiry, see all the information about that particular stock item, and then click on the order this item button and do it that way as well. Anything you'd add before I move off the point of sale, Tim?
Look, I guess, what have we touched on there? So you've got your flexible touchscreen options, you've got your phone recharge integration, the Tabcorp integration, FPOS integration, buy now, pay later, lay-bys, invoicing, accounts, special orders, putaways. There's a fair bit we've gone through already. In terms of point of sale, look, we showed the receipts with the discount vouchers. We customize those to put your logo on them. The only other thing I'd say to that is some customers do, with your receipts, they'll do a little promotional thing in the body of it. So if you get a new range of products in, you can actually set it to do a little promotion in the body of the receipt, pitching that as well. But no, look, you know what? I think you've covered a lot of the functionality in point of sale. But I guess just on that, if anyone's watching this and they think, hey, can it do this? Just reach out and ask us the question. We're always happy to help with that. But
yeah,
no, I think you've covered everything in the point of sale.
I have just seen these 2 buttons. I'll quickly touch on those. Really handy. So we can obviously set the buttons to go to specific websites. So I've got my knowledge base one here, which basically takes me to my knowledge base article. So on this, and I'll touch on it more at the end, but within the software, we've got an article on pretty much how to do anything within the software. I've got my Tabcorp integration here, and it's just giving me a step-by-step guide on how to set up the Tabcorp integration. But also too, I've got my Avado here. So if you do want to link to supplier portals and things like that, you can simply set up those quick links there, and that way you're not going to a web page, typing in the URL or whatever it might be. So it's just a little thing that might save an extra step or two. And just on that as well, or on the whole point of sale side of things, you'll notice everything that I've demonstrated, I haven't left the point of sale screen as well. So even going as far as arriving stock, if you're a single registered news agency where you've got the one terminal, you do your back officey things on there as well as selling items on there as well, you'll see that you can simply have shortcuts to pretty much any sort of functionality within the software, and you can easily navigate between those screens. So really handy for, as I said, single registered news agencies that don't have the space to add a second terminal in there. Yeah,
look, and you know what, I would say a lot of our customers, I mean, I've been doing this for nearly 20 years. And when I first started, it was really common to have 2 computers out the front and 1 or 2 computers out the back in a news agency. But over the years, that's really changed. It's far more common for a news agent now to not have anything out in the back office and simply have 2 or even 3 computers at the front, so that you're always out there ready to serve customers. You don't have a wasted staff member sitting down out the back, doing administration work. They can do all of that in between serving customers by really easily jumping between those screens and, managing their time better.
Yeah. Excellent. On the ordering side of things, so a couple of ways to do purchase orders within the software. One of the ways is obviously you can set your reordering quantities, so you can have your mins and max levels for certain stock items, which you can just run a report, and anything that reaches its minimum, you'll obviously order whatever ceiling quantity you've got for that stock item. But the most common way is probably the order by sales report. Now here I can select either specific departments or suppliers. So, if I want to do an order for all my gifts, or, if we're talking suppliers, I might want to do a stationery order for, DNS. I can obviously choose my start date and end date. So if you just want to do a reorder based on what's sold in the last month, obviously you can set that date range. Or if you want to do an order for, say, February next year, or, a period next year, you can obviously select that date range as well. So you know exactly what you sold in that same period this year, so you can better prepare for your order, in that same period next year.
Yeah. So this doesn't force the order at this point. All this is really doing is saying, what information do you want to use as the foundation for preparing your order? So you could say, like Justin said, I want to do an order based on my sales for December, January, February last year, and it'll then prepare all of that in here. So if you were doing, say, a back to school order, it's really handy for doing that, to do a back to school order based on what you sold through that period last year.
Yeah. So I've just done a whatever that month period was. A couple of things on this screen. So obviously I've got my barcode information, my description, supplier. I can easily customize the screen, and just on that, most screens within the software can be easily customized depending on what fields you want, hidden and shown, obviously. But I've got my quantity sold column, which is important. I can actually choose to show what's on any pending or sent orders as well. So obviously, seeing that info, I can make better business decisions. I might say I need 30 of those, but I might have 30 coming on an order, say, next week. So in this case, I'm going to order 0. I can easily choose to, as I said, show and hide that information. But you'll see here, I've got my quantity sold column, my current quantity on hand, and then my quantity to order. If I was to be lazy, I can just simply click on this button down here, and that's going to populate my quantity to order with exactly what I sold. So if I want to do a quick replenishment order, it's just as simple as that. When I click on create order, it obviously sends it to my order screen. I can action it there as well. So I can choose to add things to it, remove things off it, and then I can simply send it to the supplier from that screen as well.
And look, actually, one thing that's worth touching on while you're in there as well, Justin, is one of the fields that you could turn on or off in there is packs and units. So look, you don't need to worry about turning them on or off at the moment, but really handy for things like pens, where you might buy it in a box of 12, sell them as both the box or the individual. It's smart enough to know when you sell an individual or you sell the box, and it's also smart enough to know how you want to reorder that product as well. So all of that sort of stuff, very much works in the system for you.
Smarter than me and you, that's for sure.
Oh, you know it.
And just going back to that screen, obviously, another important one is the show monthly breakdown. So obviously Tim spoke about, getting ready for, seasonal products coming up. So obviously the news agency, a lot of seasonal stuff throughout the year. So you've got your Halloween, Easter, Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day. So showing the monthly breakdown actually breaks it down when those items sold in what month. So you can really drill down and see, all right, it's telling me I need 10 of these, but I only sold 10 in August, last year. So there's no point in getting that in, other months throughout the year. So really handy tool to show that breakdown as well. And, again, I can simply, choose to show and hide specific months. So I can either turn that on, and then in here, if I only want to know November, October, and September, I can simply untick all these other months, and that will obviously display the months that I need to see.
Yeah.
Actually, while we're on the ordering side of things, a lot of our customers will use our stock manager tool to create orders as well. So multiple ways to use the stock manager tool, which I'll touch on. But let's say I want to search everything with the word Beanie Boo. Again, I can choose departments, categories, suppliers, certain keywords, whatever I might want. But, you could have, say, 20, 30, 100 of all these different Beanie Boos. I can simply pick the ones that I need ordered. So I can, I'll just select none. And let's just say I want to order this one, and order these last two. I can simply now click over here, send that list to an order, and that will create an order within the system as well. So as I said, you can imagine if you had a list of, say 200 items, a lot of customers like seeing the full, catalogue of a product or a department or category, but they simply just want to select, a handful of stuff to order. That's not based on, any sales criteria or anything like that. Another way to use this tool is getting stock ready for online. You'll see here again, I can customize it. I'm showing all my web information, so whether it's a web store item, whether it has an extended description, whether it's got images and whatnot. You'll see here, if I click on select, get selected, you'll see in my web price field, I've got $0 at the moment. So I can come over here at the click of a button, I can say, right, I want to use my base price as my sell price. I want to completely mirror my sell price. I don't want to put a certain percentage on my web pricing or, reduce it either. I can click on update prices at the click of a button. That's updated 8 records, and all of these items now have a web price. So when I do sell it online, you're making money for that item that's selling. All of these are ticked as web store items, but if they were unticked, obviously I can come over here to the same thing, tick that, straight away, eight items would show online. So really handy tool to, manipulate a bunch of stock at the same time, without doing it the old-fashioned way of exporting data, doing whatever you need to do in Excel, and then re-importing that back into the software.
Yeah. I just add, we do have a separate video on how this works in its entirety. So if someone's looking for more info on that, check that one out. But there's options to, like Justin said, do those bulk edits. You can send this list to reports or labels or a reorder, stock take these products, and a lot of flexibility and customization with what fields are visible in there. So you can really, whatever element of the data you want to work on, you can certainly choose that and get the job done.
Yeah, without leaving the software as well.
Yeah.
So, the integrity of your data sort of stays intact. Anything on your list that I have?
Look, I guess some things I had on my list. We also, for the news agents out there that deal with books, we also work with title page integration. And again, we've got a separate video on that, but it's really going to your stock screen. You've got a title page link option there. And that will allow you to then, if this particular product Justin had up, if that was a book, it would automatically grab all of its book data and tell you whether the supplier has it in stock. It can load its image in, really just, streamline how that works. And the other thing is, obviously, I don't think we've mentioned it yet, is the magazine integration. All of the magazine invoices flow into the system electronically. Same goes with any greeting cards. Pretty much all of the greeting card companies offer electronic invoicing. So, and stationery. So whenever you receive any of those products, there's very little work in terms of loading that data in. You simply come into this screen Justin's got up, tick a couple of boxes, and it'll flow through and load that stock in for you. If any customers have those Avado invoices, if there were any customers that had putaways for titles as they're coming in, as Justin said before, it'll just stop and say, hey, Justin's got this on order, and it'll then print the label for you. Through this process, There's also a tick box that you can select on the previous screen that will enable early returns prompting. So as those magazines come in, if you're getting in 10 copies of Wheels magazine, you normally only sell 5. It'll stop and tell you, hey, you're getting too many, and it'll give you the option to early return some of those. So you're not overpopulating your shelves, you're not stocking magazines that you simply don't need. And yeah, it really does help you with that management aspect of magazines.
Yeah, good point. Probably the most common thing in a news agency.
Yeah, absolutely. An easy one to miss though, because it's so, it's just, such a core part of it.
Yeah. Look, what I'll also mention is, I spoke briefly about it before, but as part of the subscription cost, you get access to our knowledge base. So as I said, pretty much an article or even a video sometimes on how to do anything within the software. Obviously, the onboarding process, what's inclusive of that is we'll bring your data across if you are coming from a previous system, and spend a couple of days actually training you on the software, basically customizing the software to suit your particular business needs. And then obviously long after the installation, you've got access to unlimited one-on-one remote training sessions. So obviously we've got the 24/7 support desk there, but then we've also got the unlimited one-on-one sessions, which you can book in that. You'll get someone one-on-one, from our help desk. Any topic within the software, they'll sit down, remote into your data, and go through the absolute ins and outs of, why we do it this way. This is how we would recommend, and this is how we do it. I'll also mention, obviously we've got about 3 or 4 news agencies ourselves. So all of our support staff, when they come into the business firsthand, they'll actually be trained within the software, within the store on the software. So not only they're getting a software background, they're also, essentially walking in the shoes of our customers as well, getting that retail experience as well. So when you do call up the help desk, you'll have a real conversation with someone. We don't outsource it to overseas. All Australian developed, Australian supported. Head office is out of Victoria. So you'll get someone real when you need some real help.
Yeah, and look, I think it's a really good factor that we have those stores. I mean, just the other day, a couple of the help desk guys went out to help with stock takes at our own stores, and so that then gives them a better understanding, not only of how the software handles it, but also what's happening at the newsagent's end. So when they do call up and say, "Hey, I'm doing a stock take," it's not just about showing them where to go and what to do. They really do have a good knowledge of what's going on at the other end, and it makes an amazing difference to how we can provide that advice and how we can better understand what our customers want our software to do.
Yeah. Reporting wise, hundreds of different reports within the software as well, which obviously we can demonstrate in a one-on-one session if you did need to see those. Accounting data, so we can push all your accounting data to 0 at the end of each day as well. So again, saves on bookkeeper costs or costs to do it yourself as well, and obviously time. Anything that wasn't mentioned in this demonstration, or anything you need the software to do for your particular business, Tim or I would be happy to sit down one-on-one with you and actually go through the software one-on-one and obviously answer any specific needs that you need out of the software.
Yeah, look, we've really only just scratched the surface on functionality. Like, there's other things in there to manage. So, like, you've got marketing tools there. If you do want to send customers text messages or emails or any communication about anything based on their previous purchases, based on their birth date, their address, their interests, there's a lot of kind of functionality around that. Justin's got gift hampers, so if there's anything down in the bottom corner there on the screen, so if there's anything you build into a pack where it might be 10 different items, you can then link those and give them one barcode, so it's far easier to manage that as a central product and see how well it's doing. So that's just, I guess, 2 examples, but there is a hell of a lot more functionality in the back end of it. So yeah, if there's anything people want to know, just sing out. We're happy to help.
Yeah. Excellent. Nothing else to add, Tim?
No, look, I don't think so. I mean, we've been through a lot of the functionality. The onboarding service is really thorough. You've got one of our staff members, as Justin mentioned, for, at least 2 full days to help you get it set up and train you on how it works. And then you've got the help desk access, which is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We'd obviously like to limit that those 2 a.m. calls to the real urgent stuff. But
that's your mobile, or?
But the point is, it's we're there to help when you do need us, and that includes updates and everything as well. So yeah, if anyone wants more info, just reach out. We'll happily help.
Yeah. All right, no worries. Hopefully talk to you soon, and thanks for watching.
No worries. Thanks, Justin.